Yo, yo, yo. Oh, man. We got to talk, man. We got to talk. It's crazy, man. Who watched these fights? My phone is going crazy right now, guys. Wow. Yeah, man. Who watched these fights tonight, man? Who watched Boots Ennis and who watched Josue Vargas? Two first round knockouts, man. Crazy. We got to start off. We got to start off with Boots Ennis. Boots Ennis looked fantastic. Boots Ennis, Jaron Ennis, I should say. He looked great, man. I mean, he's looked exactly how everybody said he is. Everybody said that Jaron Ennis is, one of the best fighters in the division, if not the best fighter in the division. It's still a little early to call him the best fighter in the division, but he looked fantastic, man. He knocked out Thomas Delorme in the first round, and he did it impressively, man. I thought the fight was going to go 3 rounds. I was telling my boy Billy Briscoe that I think the fight goes 3 rounds. Fight ended up going 1 round. So, and it's crazy because I'm watching my boy Josue Vargas on the phone because I got the ESPN app and then I got the TV playing at the same time, and I'm watching Boots on the TV. The only reason why I chose to watch Boots on the big TV and not Josue is because I had the ESPN app. So I'm watching the phone and I'm watching Josue at the same time. The fights literally started at the same time. Well, Boots knocks him out real quick. Bing, bang, boom. And then I go and I see my boy Josue Vargas. Now, a lot of you guys know I had the opportunity to help Josue for his last fight. I never really trained Josue, but I worked with him with his last camp because I was with Tevin Farmer. And in Orlando, we were all in the same complex. So, I helped out Josue Vargas, helped Mitch form, and it was a lot of fun. We had a good camp, and he won his last fight. But even in that fight, he got buzzed, and I noticed it. I said, he got this chin. We don't know about his chin yet. He got buzzed in his last fight in the first round. And then he went ahead and he stepped up against Zepeda in this fight. And damn, he knocked out Josue in the first round. Like, I can't say that didn't hurt a little bit because, I know Josue personally. I've helped Mitch for Josue. Josue is a tough kid. He's a warrior. But it don't matter how tough you are in boxing. It don't matter if you're, tough, if you got a lot of heart. When that chin gets checked, it's checkout time. You know what I'm saying? And my boy Josue got checked in his chin, and it is what it is, man. I hope that him and his dad and Jose, his other coach, and his strength and conditioning coach, man, these are all really, really good people, man. And I just hope they could bounce back, man. But damn, Josue Vargas knocked out in the first round. Josue Vargas knocked out in the first round. Unbelievable. So what's going on, guys? What did you guys see? Did you guys see any of this stuff? See what the people are saying. What's good, Coach Ant? What's good, my boy? Francisco Santiago. That fight was mad quick. Both fights was mad quick. You know what I'm saying? Billy! What's good, my boy Bill Bird? My boy said crazy, very crazy. Crazy outcomes, man. We got, what do you think about this Zepeda Vargas outcome? I just said it, we saw what happened in the weigh-in. It was an extreme fiasco at the weigh-in, right? Them, both camps was, you know, fighting with each other, and Josue was being a little bit like, a little bit pushy. I think that Josue might have acted a little bit uh out of character a little bit. I guess maybe he was trying to sell the fight, get the people excited. And people were excited. You know what I'm saying? I was excited. You know what I mean? I was a fan tonight. I wasn't in the corners and nothing like that. And um, but unfortunately things didn't go his way. I got Boots number 3 behind Spence and Bud. I mean, it's not bad. That's not a bad analysis. I mean, Boots looked great today. I mean, what can you say? At this point, Boots just needs to fight the top dogs, or at least a top tier guy. I mean, Thomas Delorme was good, in 2015. Let's keep it 100. Like, he could fight at one point, but that was 5, 6 years ago. And in boxing, you can't beat the father of time. And not only that, Boots is a special athlete. You know what I mean? I think Boots would have beat Thomas Delorme back then. I just think that maybe Thomas would have won a few more rounds. This fight don't count. Boots did what he's supposed to do. I agree halfway. He did what he was supposed to do. But at the same time, Boots, they're moving him very carefully for whatever reasons. But he needs to step up. You know what I mean? There's no doubt about it, because he's just that good. Not that I'm trying to discredit Boots in any way. He just needs to step up. When you're that good, we just need to go ahead. Let's go ahead. Let's throw you in there, baby. Let's get it, because you ready. You know what I mean? Delorme ain't won his last 3 fights. Yo, Nate, what's good? You right. He hasn't won his last 3 fights. But he's fought the better opposition than Boots. But we all know Boots is the truth. We all know he's the truth, especially here on our side of the town, on our side of town, Philadelphia, New Jersey. Like, we get a chance to see Boots up close and personal. And we've been watching Boots since the amateurs. And we've been knew that he's the truth. But man, like, he needs to step up and fight somebody real good now. You know what I mean? Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, um, guys like that. You know what I mean? I mean, the other kid who just beat Pacquiao, I forget the Cuban's name. He needs guys like that. Those are the only guys that are gonna push him. Anybody less than that, Boots is gonna destroy. Boots jab was crazy. Delorme's a gatekeeper. Yeah, I mean, look, I thought Delorme was gonna go 3 rounds. That's what I expected. I thought it was going 3. The boy went 1. You know what I mean? Ugis is 35. I mean, yo, listen, you know, yo, I hear the crowd downstairs, man. I hear it. I mean, I didn't even want to watch the main event. I literally watched the fights I wanted to watch. How's the main event going? I wasn't even interested in them guys. There's no disrespect to them. Probably should have watched it, because I'm hearing a lot going on downstairs. What's going? Anybody watching the fight right now? Boots not being with a big promoter to make the fights difficult for Boots. I think that might have been a issue at one point. But I think now he's knocking on that door where you can't deny him. There's a good fight going on right now, and I'm up here with y'all. I was too excited to hop on here, man. I ain't even gonna lie. I should probably go downstairs and watch whatever's remaining of that fight, man. But because it's not on ESPN, right? It's on Showtime. I don't got Showtime on my phone. What do you tell fighters? What do you tell young fighters to keep them encouraged and focused, coach? I mean, you just got to keep working, champ. You know what I mean? Like, you can't. every fight is different, but for the most part, you try to keep a fighter motivated, especially an amateur fighter, by keeping him fighting. You know what I mean? That's the first thing. Keeping him fighting, keeping him sparring. That's the number one thing. And if he's starting to have a tough time in them situations, little pep talks here and there. So I mean, but you gotta ultimately want this. The fighter has to ultimately want this. My job is just to keep him motivated. You know what I'm saying? And if we train properly and if you're getting good results, it's not going to be too hard for me to keep you motivated. But if we're getting bad results, if you're constantly getting beat up, and you're not making any improvements, then it's going to be real easy for you to get discouraged and say, man, what the hell am I doing this for? And honestly, quite frankly, if I see that's the case, I might be on board with you and say, hey, maybe you're right. Maybe boxing isn't for you. You know what I mean? So it all depends on the athlete and what the situation is. But the main key is activity, activity, activity. That's more important in the words of encouragement, keeping somebody busy. Yo, it's Zane from downstairs. What up, Zane DeLeon? Big shout out to Zane. That's my nephew. He's in the damn living room on my live right now. How's the fight, Zane? You're probably not even watching it. Boots is something special. Only Danny Garcia or Ortiz next makes sense. Yeah, I mean, those are the kind of fights Boots needs. Now, Virgil Ortiz, now that's a good fight. You know what I mean? I like to see that fight. That's honestly, I think those two guys should fight before they get a fight like with a Terrence or whatever. I know people want to see that down the line when they're fully developed, but I like to see that now. Like the clash of the two up and coming warriors, the winner gets a big fight with a big name like a Crawford or somebody like that. You feel me? That's how I think it should go. I think that those two young guys need to duke it out right now. How do I build confidence, coach? Champ, it's kind of similar to the question that my boy just asked. You build confidence through repetition and getting good results. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm trying to, let's just say it's not boxing, let's just say it's a business, and I opened a business and I'm not doing well at it and I'm not doing anything to get better at my business is gonna fail. You know what I'm saying? And after but so many fails, it's hard to build confidence. But if I wake up every day, handle my to-do list, start to make progress, next thing you know, I'm getting business. Next thing you know, I'm getting clients. I build confidence and then I'm able to come up with more ideas and do more business. It's the same thing for a fighter, right? Like you go to the gym, you do the training that your trainer makes you do. And then once you get a successful workout, and then you come back the next day, and then you get another successful workout, and then another one, and then you start to bump into plateaus, and then you learn how to get past your plateaus, and then you start sparring. And then as you start sparring, you're going to have a difficult time, but then eventually you're going to get better. And then next thing you know, a year's gone by, and you've been consistently in the gym, repetition, 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 training every day. And then next thing you know, you're more confident because you have more experience. And then you start seeing the new guys come in, and the next thing you know, you're the experienced guy and they're the beginners. And then you build even more confidence because you realize how far you've came because you used to be them. And it's just an ongoing cycle. So my answer to you is stay in the gym, keep grinding, do the work day in and day out, and eventually you're going to build confidence. You're not going to start anything confidently. Anything you do for the first time, you're going to have your doubts. And then but you have to have resilience and you have to work through that. And then once you get past that, you're going to build confidence. You know what I mean? But as soon as you start slacking, as soon as you start skipping workouts, as soon as you stop listening to your coach, as soon as you start staying up late when you should be sleeping and eating garbage when you should be eating good and partying when you shouldn't be partying and doing things that you shouldn't be doing, then your confidence is going to drop. And then because you're doing the wrong things to get to your goal. So you build confidence by doing the things you need to be doing to get closer to your goal. As soon as you go the other direction, then the next thing you know, your confidence starts to drop. So yeah, there you go, man. Put in the work. Boots is something special. Yeah, I already answered this. My bad. Trying to see what questions I'm going to pull up right now. Peace, Mac Millie. What's good, big bro? For my skies. What's good, my guy? I hope you good, baby. I hope everything's good with you, man. It's my boy right there. Fantastic artist, good rapper. You do anything, man. I see you, champ. Appreciate you pulling up. Boots is a bad matchup for Garcia. I mean, Boots technically is a bad matchup for anybody. You know what I'm saying? We need to find what's a bad matchup for Boots. Boots fighting against bench warmers. I want to see him fight a starter. Me too, man. I want to see him fight a starter too. Peter Nieves, what's good, cousin? What's going on, man? Big shout out to my cousin, ex fantastic professional amateur fighter from New York City. What's up, Peter, man? I see you. Thank you for pulling up. Also, do not compare yourself to anyone because comparing yourself can dampen your confidence. I agree, Kenyon, for sure, man. It's always you versus you. If you're gonna look at somebody else, look at them for motivation. You know what I'm saying? Don't look at them for, you know, he's doing better than me or he's better than me. Now on the flip side of that token, having a little bit of competition can help you improve. Like if there's a fighter in the gym and he's maybe a little bit better than you and just seeing him, you're like, man, hold on, I'm gonna step it up because I want to get better. That can help actually. So it's not bad all the way because when you kind of have that person next to you that's pushing you and you got like this little secret competition in your own mind, like I'm surpassing. It might get you to push beyond your limits because sometimes it's hard to motivate yourself when it's just you versus you. But at the end of the day, initially, it's always you versus you. But if you get that little plot twist right there, it's good to sometimes look at that guy next to you, like, you know what, now I'm about to pass him. And it ain't necessarily a vendetta against that guy. It's just a way to motivate yourself. You know what I mean? Do you think Thurman can still be relevant in the welterweight division? I do. I do think he can still be relevant. I just think that Thurman needs to get active, and I think Thurman should be fighting guys similar to what Boots is fighting, just for like one or two fights. You know what I mean? Get yourself back, test your shoulders or your whatever, your elbow, whatever it was that you got surgery on. Um, get yourself rolling. Two, maybe two fights, three at most, and then let's go ahead and toss him back in there. I do think his layoff has been a bit extreme, and I think that for him to jump right back into a big fight would be dangerous. But I think if he was to get a couple of fights, he got enough experience and he was at the top of the division that he should be able to compete, pretty well with these guys. So I would like to see that. I wouldn't mind. I would still be interested in him versus Boots. You know what I'm saying? But I would only be interested in him versus Boots if he was to be actively competing and showing that he still got something. So he has a chance, but time is ticking. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like kind of upset that I'm missing this fight, man. I keep hearing it, man. I keep hearing it. That shows me how much I love y'all. I'd rather come here and chop it up with y'all, but I keep hearing it on the side of my ear. I'm like, damn, I should have went downstairs, man. What you think about that Rolly allegations going around and supposedly they're looking for a fighter to replace him in Tank? Yeah, I think it's very unfortunate. I posted it yesterday on my Instagram, and I'm gonna be honest. Um, I didn't feel right after I posted it. I was like, damn, I shouldn't have even posted this, yo. Like I felt kind of like whack for posting it. I gotta be honest with y'all, like, cause I don't want to promote and shed negativity on a man who's been allegedly accused of something that we don't know he did. So it kind of bothered me that I even did it. But at the end of the day, I am doing partial media on my page. So it's like I had to update the people who didn't know what was going on because it ain't really just about him being allegedly accused of what he did. It's more so the fight's about to get called off with Tank. I mean, I just got an alert on my phone 10 minutes ago that said they're already looking for a replacement. So he's not in a good place right now. I know he's got to be stressed out. Nobody wants to be accused of such a thing. And, I just hope that is not true. Now, if it's true, you know, you got to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we all got mothers and sisters. I mean, maybe we don't all got sisters, but we all got mothers and aunties and stuff. And you can't just sweep under the rug things if you're doing things like that. But at the same time, you have to be careful because a lot of the times, we've heard the stories that are the other way, where the girl's upset with the guy or the girl has ulterior motive and they try to destroy a guy. And unfortunately, in boxing, you know people think you're rich even when you're not rich. You have a lot of fighters who are fighting on television, and a young female may assume that you're making a lot of money. Oh, he's on TV. I mean, I saw him on Showtime. I saw him on ESPN. He's probably a millionaire. And then a lot of these boxers, they play with the facade. They wear nice clothes. They got jewelry. They taking pictures with the who's, and you're assuming that somebody's rich. That puts a target on your back immediately. Not only does it put a target on your back, by the men, it puts a target on your back with women. So you have to be careful, what I'm saying, as an athlete of any sort, but especially a high profile person, because they see you and they think he's rich and they don't know. And you could be broke. You just got some Instagram followers and you're fighting on television. I don't even know what he's getting paid. Apparently, he wasn't getting paid that much to fight Tank. So I don't know, man. I can't answer the question of what I think, if he did it or not. I just think it's very unfortunate, man, and I just hope that he didn't do it, because I don't want to support that either. You know what I mean? What would be the next steps for a young fighter like Josue Vargas after a loss like tonight? The next steps for Josue is to just take a few days off, you know, reevaluate yourself. Reevaluate yourself, reevaluate everything that's going on around you, reevaluate why you think this might have happened. Sometimes it's as simple as you just got caught with a 1-2. You know what I mean? 'Cause that's what happened. You got caught with the 1-2. But sometimes it could be something outside that could have been causing some of this. So you have to reevaluate yourself. You have to humble yourself. See, this is the problem with boxing. Too many times, young fighters believe the hype. You're moved a certain way by your managers, your promoters, you're sparring certain people because your team is making sure you're getting the proper sparring. You're posting on social media, and now social media is gassing you up. And then you start to believe the hype. And as you believe the hype, it can start to derail you, because now you think you're more than what you are. Now, I'm not trying to say that about Vargas, but what I'm saying is, if that was part of the issue, then you may want to go back to the drawing board and humble yourself a little bit and figure out what you need to learn, what you need to improve on, and those type of things. Because tonight what happened is very bad, because in boxing, only a couple of fights and you're out the door. You're not even fighting like you should be fighting. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's a boxing problem more so than an individual problem, but that's the reality. So if you're serious about your career, you need to figure out how you're going to bounce back, how you're going to get back into the swing of things. And it's going to come by going into that dark room with yourself and thinking and really being real with yourself. You have to go into some things we got to handle on our own. Some rooms we got to go into them on our own, in life, what I mean? Especially when we're dealing with something difficult. Sometimes it's just us and God, you know what I'm saying? If you believe in God, you know what I mean? Or the higher power or whatever you want to call it. So he's in that situation. He's gonna have to go into that dark room and he's gonna have to do some thinking, you know what I mean? If he wants to take this serious, because boxing is an unforgiving sport, you know what I mean? You're only as good as your last win. So I just I just hope and I wish him the best. It's gonna be hard for Vargas to come back from a loss like that in your backyard after all that trash talk. I mean, it could be. I'm not gonna say that you're all the way wrong. When you talk a lot, um, and we saw the outcome of the press conference and all that, and then that's the outcome in the fight. I just think it's a reevaluation phase because I've worked with Vargas personally, and I've seen him train, and he's a hungry kid. He really wants this. You know what I mean? He really wants to be a champion. I mean, he's willing to put in the rounds. He's willing to spar whoever. But at the same time, there has to be some humbleness there because obviously what happened tonight. You know what I mean? And that could happen to any of us. You know what I mean? The best fighters in the world has been knocked out. Some been knocked out in the first round, just like Vargas did, and they come back to do great things. So it's not over for Vargas, but he does need to be real with himself and figure out what's next. And hopefully his team around him and everybody who's part of that circle can help him get there. Would you ever do fight companions, Coach Ant? I'm not sure what fight companions in. Enlighten me. I don't even know what that is. Boots is a cold brother. Yes, sir. I agree. The coach's corner was good. And I seen Richardson told me once that he would try to avoid his fighters fighting at home because it just came with too many distractions. I mean, Josue Vargas fights, trains in Orlando now. So he was only in New York for 1 week, which is fight week. But I see Nassim Richardson's point, and rest in peace to the great Nassim Richardson. But yeah, I can see how they can still bring distractions. You got your family there, your friends there, all these people there, and now all of a sudden you got all this pressure to try to look good and impress the crowd. And they say that about a young fighter. If a young fighter goes into a fight trying to impress the crowd, it usually ends up bad. You know what I'm saying, for the fighter. So you can't go into a fight trying to impress the crowd. Your mother's in the crowd, your father's, in his situation is the coach, but cousins and brothers and girls and fans, and you can't think about none of those people when you're in that ring, man. You gotta be a laser beam focused with the person in front of you. You know what I'm saying? And that's a hard thing for a lot of young fighters, and that's why experience is such a important thing. You know what I mean? They try to teach you that in the amateurs, and then from the amateurs, a certain amount of fights as a pro. That's why, with this boot situation, it's kind of good that he's getting all these fights, even though he's not fighting the top tier guys. Today was probably his biggest name, probably his second biggest name on his record, but definitely one of his better names. He was able to dispose the guy quickly, but he's getting a lot of fights. I think he's got like 27 or 25 or 28 pro fights now. Now we go ahead and we start picking it up. He's already built his identity. He's fought, at home already. He's already done things, and he's building his confidence, and he's really not really getting too hyped up with the crowd, and he's a hard worker. His father keeps him humble. So, I think the way they're moving boots is basically a good example of why, you have to move a certain way, you know what I mean? But, for some guys, they can't handle all of it. Jamil Jackson, coach, what's up? Huge fan of your content. Thank you so much, champ. I appreciate that. Boxing is nothing to play with. You can have the hype and the clout just like that. After a loss or two, you'll be right back to doing something other than boxing. Absolutely, man. I mean, it's just the facts. It's just the facts, man. I've seen so many guys come and go, and I've seen guys who were at high levels, and now I look at them and I'm like, damn, yo, just like 5 years ago, you was, you know, the hottest thing since sliced bread, and now you got a regular job. You know what I'm saying? You're working for somebody else. You know what I mean? All that stardom and all them people that was around you and all them girls that all them yes men you had around you, where they at? You feel me? Ain't none of them, you know what I'm saying? Doing, you know what I mean? None of them around no more. Everybody walk away, do their own thing when you done. So that's why in boxing, you got to stay humble. What comes up must come down. You feel me? And you have to stay focused because you only got such a big window in boxing. Your window in boxing ain't that big. You feel me? You ain't got that long. Your shelf life ain't that long in boxing. Some guys have a very short shelf life, so they have to get everything they're gonna get done. They need to get it done when they can get it done. So, like I heard Timothy Bradley, I believe, said something today. If you go into every fight like it's your last fight, you know what I mean, and keep that mentality, you'll go far in boxing. I agree with that. I liked what he said because it's like you're taking every fight serious, I think is what he meant by that analogy. You know what I'm saying? And you have to, you know what I'm saying? You have to take every fight because you don't know if you're going to get another payday. So that payday, you need to take it in and live up to it and treat it serious because you might not fight again. You know what I mean? And that's boxing. Noxon, are you training boxers out of anywhere right now? I'm not really working with competitive fighters at the moment. I'm more so focusing on my courses, focusing on, building my internet online brand right now. That's really my goal. I want to teach boxing on the internet. I want to do these lives. I want to grow these live channels to a lot of people. I'm working on a community based program on my line on my site right now. I'm dropping a few more courses very soon. I already dropped Build You from the Ground Up 1.0 for my beginners, and I got some other stuff coming in the next very soon. Let's just say, and I may consider opening a gym again within the next year. But right now, that's my main focus. And working with a fighter is a huge commitment, and that's not what I'm looking to commit to at the moment. I did it for a decade, and I've had some good results. You know what I mean? But as of right now, it's time for me to focus on what I have going on. And then once I get this rolling and I can get this machine running how I need it to run, then I'm gonna get back into most likely working with fighters. But right now, I'm just working with. If I do work with somebody, it's probably gonna be, a personal training client who just wants to work with me. Somebody who, I trained somebody over the weekend who was from Miami. He came all the way up here, and while he was in the area, he wanted to work with me. So I worked with him. I worked with a couple of kids a couple of times a week, but nothing too serious, not too competitive at the moment. Mongo Slade said, "Hit that like button, y'all. It's free." No, I appreciate that. I always forget to tell people to hit the like button. Hit the like button, like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, all that good stuff, man. I appreciate everybody who comes in here and shows love. You know what I mean? So, you know, thank you guys for coming. But yeah, it would be much appreciated if you guys hit the like button for sure. Who was your favorite boxer growing up? Well, it started with Felix Trinidad. That was the reason I got into boxing. I'm Puerto Rican, and at the time, around the time I had my first amateur fight, Felix Trinidad was like the hottest Puerto Rican fighter in boxing. So um, that was what really got me motivated to box was Felix Trinidad. I used to love that he was Puerto Rican. I used to love that he repped the country so hard. And at that time, that's how it was for me. And then as I continued to learn how to box and started to really understand the craft, because when I was a fan of Tito, I didn't really know boxing yet. You know what I mean? But as I started to learn the game and understand the fundamentals and the science of the sport, and then I started to fall in love with different kind of fighters. I liked Winky Wright a lot. I lived in Florida for a long time, and in Florida, at the time, Winky Wright started to pick up some traction, and he won a world title, obviously. And I just loved how Winky Wright was able to catch everything on his arms and stay real simple with his defense, but yet be so hard to hit clean and win fights. And I was like, man, he just simplified things for me. So I started to emulate him in sparring, and it would work for me. Like I would literally just catch shots. I learned how to catch shots, you know what I'm saying, and work off of the catches. And I would never really get too hurt, never get too beat up in sparring and stuff like that. So it went to Winky Wright. And then, of course, from Winky Wright, you know, I always loved James Toney. As I was watching Winky, James Toney was running up the light heavyweight division, and then he went to heavyweight, obviously. But I was watching him, and then of course Floyd Mayweather and Roy Jones Jr. were big influences. So I loved Roy Jones because I loved how he threw the right hand lead. I loved how he threw leaping lead hooks, even though I know that's fundamentally incorrect. And I mean, who didn't love Roy Jones when Roy Jones was hot if you were a boxing enthusiast? And then, of course, Floyd Mayweather took over after all of that. And I just fell in love with Roy Jones Jr. But I was also a big fan of Eric Morales, Mexican fighter, featherweight. He was my favorite featherweight at one point. You had William Kennedy, you had Junior Jones, you had Kevin Kelly from Flushing, you had Marco Antonio Barrera. You know what I'm saying? I love the featherweight division. Prince Nazim Hamed. I mean, I love the freaking featherweight division. I remember it was featherweight, welterweight, middleweight. That was really and Roy Jones. I remember like that was the hotbed for me to watch. So I didn't have one particular fighter other than Trinidad that I could say was my favorite for a while. But then it just became all the good fighters, and I just started to watch fighters, and I just like good fights. There was a lot of good competitive fights at that time. That's my era. You got the era before me that's like the Sugar Rays and the Tommy Hearns and all them guys. I'm cut from, that De La Hoya, De La Hoya, Purnell, Ike Corte, that 90s, early 2000s. That's really my era. You know what I mean? I'm not the oldest coach in boxing. So that's really my era. That's who I grew up watching. And those guys were fantastic. You know what I mean? Great fighters. Would you be open to training a high profile YouTuber for a fight? Oh yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. At the end of the day, I am a businessman, right? Like I'm a coach, but I'm a businessman. I've always been a businessman. I was a gym owner. I currently have an online service that I basically sell courses on. So I do YouTube myself. I mean, literally, I'm on YouTube right now. So absolutely, I would definitely do that. You know what I mean? I'm all for that kind of stuff. A lot of people don't like it because it takes away from the athletes, but at the end of the day, you have to adapt to your environment. And if that's where the revenue stream is going to come in, and I have an opportunity to help him win and look good doing it, it only ups my stock. Like if I can take a guy who's a YouTuber and he's not that good, and let's just say within a couple of fights, I have him looking pretty damn good, they're gonna say, damn, when he got with Coach Ant was able to turn that guy into something. You know what I'm saying? So that shows. I mean, guys with no little to no experience, that's when your stuff gets to show because those are the guys who knew nothing. By the time you were done with them, now they know something. You see what I'm saying? You get a guy who's already built up, already has his skill set. It's kind of hard for them to see what did you really add to that guy. That guy already knew how to fight when you got him. You see what I'm saying? So that's the only cool thing about working with a beginner and a YouTuber and stuff like that. If you take the training serious, you might be able to show people, look, man, when I got that guy, he didn't know nothing. Look at him now. You know what I mean? Penny never said making me feel old. Yeah, man, you just a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm catching up though. I can tell you that, Pete. I'm catching up quick, man. You know what I mean? I could feel it. You know what I mean? In my mind though, I feel like I'm young, but when I wake up some days, I'll be like, ooh, maybe I'm not as young as I feel in my mind. You know what I mean? Chris said, we appreciate you, Coach Anthony. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you appreciating me, man. I appreciate that. Angel Rivera Sr. What's up, Coach? How spectacular was Boots KO and Cepeda's KO were? Yeah, man, they were both good. Both good knockouts by both fighters. What's good, Coach Anthony? You're the first person on YouTube that I started learning boxing techniques from. I'm a fan of your work, and I'll definitely be tuning into your channel. Day Digital, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Um, and I'll be continuing to drop content. I think I'm going to be going. I already said I was going to try to go live every day for the month of November. Every I'm going to say at least 5 days a week. I think that's a better commitment. A Monday through Friday, and maybe an exception for the big fights. I want to go live every day. I want to, talk boxing, do Q&As, bring guests. Fight week, obviously, Canelo and Caleb plans this week. So we'll be covering some whatever updates we can with that. So that's my goal. So I hope to see a lot of you guys. I'm expecting to go somewhere in that 6 p.m. to 6 to 10 p.m. range, somewhere in there. Be on the lookout for a flyer of some sort on my YouTube channel and on my Instagram at Coach Anthony, Facebook, all that. I'll be posting whatever time I decide to lock in, but it's going to probably be the evening. I know everybody has jobs and works and stuff, and a lot of guys like to, and of course, the live streams will still play after, but it'll be really cool if y'all can come in and participate and chop it up with me and whoever I bring on. So I'll be trying to bring somebody different on as much as I can. So I want to do that for the month of November because I really want to bring value to you guys. And I really think that lives where I interact with you guys like this and I'm able to speak to you guys and even bring you guys on. Sometimes I don't got to bring a guest. You could be the guest, right? I put the link in there. Some of you guys come on here, we talk, you ask a question or whatever. I answer it, whatever, what I mean? Whatever I could do to bring value to the community, that's what I want to do. So be on the lookout, man. I'm going to try to go live every single day for the month of November. It is October 31st, technically. Halloween. Happy Halloween, y'all. And, so that will be starting tomorrow. Not today, because today is Sunday, but tomorrow, Monday. Kenyon was good. What are the best attributes you think a boxing trainer can have? What are the best attributes you think a boxing trainer can have? Through my experience, there's a few. I mean, obviously patience, right? A boxing trainer has to be very patient because this is not an overnight gig. You know what I mean? And you can't skip steps. A lot of trainers, I see one of the biggest mistakes that trainers make is that they don't take enough time with their fighters to make sure their fighter has what they're trying to teach them. So for instance, if a fighter needs to develop a good jab, you might tell it to him once or twice, and then you move on to the cross, and then you move on to the hook to the body, and then you move on to slipping and doing whatever. But it's like, dude, hold on, we didn't even develop the jab. Like the trainer might have even peeped it and said he needs to improve his jab, but doesn't focus on it. You know what I'm saying? So the patience, you know what I mean, is one thing. Obviously the IQ, right? A boxing coach has to have a certain level of IQ. You know what I mean? The more, the better. The more you can teach, the more you know about the game, the more you can teach. The more experience you have, the more you can relate to your athlete. So whether that's experience as a professional fighter turned trainer, or that's an experience as a high level amateur turned trainer, or a regular whatever, or just a coach. Coaching in itself is a different skill set. You know what I mean? So you have to know how to teach. It's not just about how to do. You have to teach a guy how to teach. So, you know, I mean, have to teach a fighter. You have to know how to teach a fighter. So those are the main things: boxing IQ, patience. You know, make sure you're actually developing a guy, and don't skip steps. You know, go through the process. You know what I'm saying, and be honest. Don't be a yes man. A lot of trainers are yes men because they don't want to lose their positions. You know, a trainer be like, man, if I tell him the truth, he might tell me I gotta, kick rocks. Think about what happened with Deontay Wilder's coach. You know, Mark Breland. You know, he was honest in the corner by saying, I don't think you should be in there any longer. I'm gonna throw in the towel. And in return, what did he get? He got fired. Sometimes coaches are scared that that's going to happen in the gym. You know what I'm saying? They're like, damn, if I tell him about that horrible ass, pivot he just did, he might not want me here. You know what I mean? He gonna hire the next guy. So that's why I'm glad that I'm in a position that I don't have to do this for the money with a fighter. Like there's no fighters out there right now that can convince me, you know what I'm saying, unless they're gonna pay me like $1 million to work the corner, you know what I'm saying? Like that I'm gonna sit there and be a yes man or whatever. Like you want me to be a yes man, boy, you better pay. I better be getting like them MMs. Like, damn, and like I understand why you was a yes man. That mother gave you millions. But for these little checks that these guys be giving, there's no way in hell that I'm gonna sit there and lie to you when I know you have things you need to improve on. And even I think at that M level, I'm not gonna do it because at the end of the day, you know, I'm not in this for the money. If I work with a fighter, I'm not doing it for the money. Put it that way. Because there ain't enough money in it. That's for one. As a coach, it's not enough money in it. I'm doing it because I really want to do it. And that's why when people ask me right now, why you're not working with fighters, it's because right now I'm not in the mentality that that's what I want to do. I want to focus on my brand. You see what I'm saying? I coached for many years. People forget that sometimes. Like, damn, coach. Like, I mean, you gotta understand. I held mitts from 7 in the morning till 10 p.m. at night for the last decade, and worked with pros. Went from one gym to the other, and then came back to my gym. Ran classes, taught amateurs, traveled to nationals. Been all over the damn country with these kids. Paid for most of that out of my own pocket. Never got a return on an investment. There's a lot to being a coach. So if you're gonna do it, it can't be for the money. It has to be for you truly want to develop the fighter. You know what I mean? So yeah, you gotta love it. The number one attribute, one of the best attributes is you gotta really want to do this. It can't just be for the money. It can't just be, oh, I'm only gonna work with the most talented guy in the gym. That's another thing that coaches like to do. They like to pick and choose who they want to work with. Okay, I'm only gonna work with that kid because he got the potential. Well, how about that kid behind him who you don't think has the potential? That particular kid can actually end up becoming better than the kid with the potential, because a lot of the times the kid with the potential doesn't work as hard as the kid with less potential. So you have to have a good eye as a coach to be able to see something. Like, yeah, he ain't that sharp yet. That motherfucker got something. If I could just take him and work a few things that'll fit his natural attributes, you know what I mean? With his work ethic, his heart, you know what I'm saying? I could do something with that kid. So you can't overlook the little guys as a coach, because a lot of coaches do that. They only want to be seen with the good fighters because they in it for the clout just as much as the fighters are in it for the clout. I've seen it all in this game. You feel me? So these are the things you have to avoid if you want to be a coach. If you want to be a coach, you got to be really in it, and you really have to, it can't be for the money. That's for damn sure. Damn, I just went in on that question, right? That's how you know I'm passionate about that particular question. Punch Drunk, a good guess with you, coach. Oh yeah, man, that's my guy. But he got his own channel. I guarantee you, he's live right now, going crazy. You know what I mean? My man, Mr. Moonshine, that is my boy. Big shout out to him. He's born and welcome to pop up in here anytime. Carolina Slim, 100, true shit. Yes, sir, Carolina. I don't know which part you're saying that to, but Jamal Jackson, I remember my coach telling me skipping steps gets you knocked out. Nah, it's a fact. You know, a lot of guys, everybody wants to skip steps. You know what I mean? And you can't, man. You have to. It's like building a house, man. It's like building a house. That's why I got a course called Build You from the Ground Up, because it's like you can't skip steps. We have to do everything step by step. At some point, though, after I give you all the ingredients and you got the recipe, then you can, switch the flavor a little bit. But you have to have all the ingredients first. You feel me? And you have to know how to cook. You know what I mean? Before you can go ahead and say, you know what, I got the fundamentals to this dish. Now I want to go ahead and try a different spice. I want to go ahead and touch a little something. You could do that once you got all the ingredients and you know how to make the dish. But until you learn how to make the dish, you got to stick to the basics on how you make that dish. Master that. You feel me? Thank you for the answer. No problem, champ. Great answer to the question. Killed that. I appreciate it, man. It's just an honest answer, honestly. You feel me? It's just honesty, man. My man Kenyon with the questions. At what point should a fighter start building their brand as a fighter? I think that it all depends. I think that you could do it at any point, honestly. You can start off from day one if you want people to see your journey. Because people always like to see a transformation. You feel me? So it's kind of like an overweight person or a really skinny person, overweight person who wants to lose weight. And you see them when they're 300 pounds and they start posting, going to the gym. And, maybe you stray away from that person's page for a year. And then you come back and you're like, oh, shit, homie lost like 100 pounds. He looking good. And then you see him a year later and now he's getting ready for a bodybuilding tournament. And you're like, damn, bro, you did that in 2 years? That's crazy. People might like that. You take a kid first day in the gym. He's posting on Instagram. It's my first day, y'all. I'm just trying something new. Next thing you know, a year goes by. Hey, y'all, I've been boxing for a year. I'm getting ready for my first amateur fight. See him 5 years later. Hey, y'all, getting ready to go to the Olympic trials. See him a year after that. Hey, y'all, making my pro debut. You're like, yo, I remember when you first started. So, I think it's intelligent to start branding yourself from day one in the gym. And when you do decide to brand yourself as a pro, you definitely need to be branding yourself as an amateur competitor. Once you're competing, you definitely should already be branding yourself, because you want to show the managers that when I'm done with these amateurs, I'm the guy you want to sign. I could fill the seats. You know what I mean? So that's how you get a good. I mean, when I went with Jamar Talley to the Nationals, as soon as he won the championship round, of course he ended up a runner-up, but as soon as he won the championship round, man, he had like 20 managers run up to him with a card, like, yo, yeah. You feel me? So they get your card, they get your social. Now they see your socials buzzing. They're like, oh, not only can he fight, this guy got fans. Okay. Ryan Garcia effect. You see what I'm saying? So you need that. You need that, man, because in boxing, it's not about the best fighter, right? My man Billy Briscoe says it's not about the best fighters, the best move fighters who become the world champions. And in order to be properly moved, there has to be something that moves the person who's moving them that's moving you, I should say. So I say that to say that person has to see a benefit for them if they're going to move you properly. And what's the benefit? The benefit is that you can make them some money. So that's why marketing is so important, because ain't nobody gonna put money behind you if they can't make no money with you. You know what I mean? You just gotta think about it like that. If you had money and you wanted to make money with somebody, they gotta be able to put money back in your pocket, right? Managers are gonna look at you the same exact way. It ain't just about how good you are. The biggest mistake boxers do is look how good I am. It's like, dude, everywhere, everybody's good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could go anywhere in the country right now and find a bunch of good fighters. You know what I'm saying? I take you to a place you never even expected, and they'll end up having two or three good fighters. So skills ain't everything. It's everything. You know, you have to have the whole package. That's how you become a success in this sport. You know what I mean? It's not just about how good you could throw a jab, cross hook, uppercut. If it was, there'd be a lot of flips on who would be the top tier guys. You know what I mean? It wouldn't always be the guys that we know. Believe me, there's a lot of guys that we don't know that should have been in those positions, but since they weren't marketable, they never even got the opportunities. You know what I'm saying? LeVar Ball, how far did you go in your career as a fighter? Did you ever turn pro, or did you stay amateur? I stood amateur. I never did anything of any real substantial as a fighter at all. But I do have a lot of experience. I've sparred a lot of pros. I was competitive as an amateur. I was open class, so I've had a fair amount of fights. But I never did anything that for me to go ahead and say, "Hey, man, I'm a top tier guy." I had other things going on in my life that prevented me from really doing it, because I always had somewhat of a business mindset. So, but I've been around a long time, and I think the fact that I've been around for so long and guys knew me for so long, that's why I got so many opportunities as a coach. As soon as I turned coach, a lot of guys who knew me from when I was boxing reached out to me, and I started doing mitts, and next thing you know, I'm working with all the top guys. You know what I'm saying? So, well, all the top guys in the area that I'm in right now, and I'm not even from this area originally. I'm not from Philadelphia, but I've had a chance to work with damn near every good fighter in Philadelphia at some point or another. Um, so yeah, as a fighter, I didn't do too much. Did much more as a coach. That don't mean I can't fight a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Don't get it twisted. I could fight a little bit. It's just, never really took it to that level as a fighter. What do you think about this name Colbert? Yeah, Colbert could fight, man. Chris Colbert from Brooklyn, fantastic young fighter. He's on his way up. I mean, it's just like anybody else. He's on his way up. He's got a lot to prove, but he looks very promising. Colbert is a great talent, but he has to get tested. I fought Colbert in like 2013, 2014. Amazing speed, good timing. So there you go. Kenyon has the experience. He's been in the ring with Chris. He can tell you firsthand. And if you know anything about boxing, if you've seen him box, you can see it immediately that the kid is good. Um, we just have to wait and see to find out how good he really is. But there's no doubt that he could fight. Is boxing really that hard to become a world champion? To be real, I've seen some bad boxers win it all the way. Chris, I just think it depends. It is difficult, but then it's not all at the same time. A little bit of luck, good management, good promoters, all those things put together with some hard work, you might become a world champion. But everything has to align. Everything has to align. If you're a really good fighter, but you don't have a good manager, what good is it? If you're a really good fighter and you don't have a good promoter, what good is it? If you got a really good promoter and a good manager, but you can't fight at all, what good is it? You know what I'm saying? Everything has to align, like, you know, for it to be easy. Because if it was easy, believe me, everybody be a world champion. I'd be a world champion. I would have been like that. And that's way too easy to not do. Every man who is in boxing would love to say, I won the world title in this year. You know what I mean? I know guys that were very capable who never won a world title. Prime example, Fast Eddie Chambers, one of my best friends who features in the courses that I do. Fantastic fighter. I went to Schuler's gym, which is one of the most, at the time, was one of the most prevalent gyms in Philadelphia back when everybody used to train there. And the owner, Buster, told me, when I walked in with Eddie, he said, Eddie Chambers is the best fighter that ever walked through these doors. Now, that was a hell of a thing to say because a lot of good fighters been to Shooter's gym. A lot. You know what I'm saying? Buster told me out of his own mouth, big shout out to Bus, who's the owner of the gym, been around for a very long time, said Eddie Chambers is the best fighter that's ever walked through the doors of these gyms. Eddie Chambers fought Vladimir Klitschko for the world title. Obviously, he got knocked out. And Eddie fought Samuel Peters one fight after Samuel Peters lost the world title, and Eddie beat him in the very next fight. So look how things have to align. Eddie got an opportunity for a world title belt. He lost when he got the opportunity. He had a guy who had a world championship, and he beat him, but he beat him one fight too late. You know, things have to align for you. You know what I'm saying? And so it ain't that easy. You know what I mean? But if you're determined, it can happen. I mean, we've seen it happen. Prime example that it can happen. Tevin Farmer, right? Tevin Farmer, another fighter who had the opportunity to help for 7 camps. I got with him for his first title opportunity that he got robbed in. He went ahead, won the world title 6 months later, defended it, 5 times successfully, defended it 6 times total. I mean, who the hell thought he was going to be a world champion? Nobody thought he was going to be a world champion. We thought he was a good little fighter, right? Like Leonard Ellaby tried to say, he's a good little fighter. Turned out to be a world champion. Everything aligned for Tevin. Everything. Got the right manager, got the right team, had the right motivation, got the right fights. The right person had the world title at the right time for him to beat. Everything aligned for Tevin. So the stars got to align as well. Coach to coach, when do you tell that kid that coach to coach, when do you tell that kid you have to take boxing seriously if you expect improvement, otherwise find another sport? When do you tell a kid that you have to take boxing seriously if you expect improvement, otherwise find another sport? Well, it depends how serious you're taking the kid, and it depends what kind of effort he's giving you back. So, for instance, I have a kid just like that right now. Fantastic skill set, man. I trained this kid since he was 8 years old. Fantastic skill set. He just could do things that you'd be like, this kid's gonna go somewhere. But at some point, I lost him. Some point I lost his focus. I mean, he had some outside things also that caused it, but it started to go downhill for him. You know what I'm saying? And when it started to go down, I held on for as long as I could, and then it just continued to go in a downward spiral. I told him, you gotta stay away from boxing for a while because it just got to a point where he can get really hurt, and I didn't want that for him. So I just think that once the fighter starts to lose interest and it doesn't look fun for them anymore, that's when you got to have that heart to heart, because boxing has to be fun. I remember back when I used to spar pros, I had an opportunity to potentially spar Emmanuel Augustus. This was down in Florida in West Palm Beach. Emmanuel Augustus used to live in Belle Glade, and he used to come to West Palm Beach to spar. If anybody knows who the Drunken Master is, he's the guy that'll do all the funny moves and hit you with any punch you can freaking get hit with. And he used to train at our gym. And, he used to come to our gym to spar. And at the time, I was just starting out. Emmanuel Augustus was already a pro. And he was like, come on, man, let's spar. And I guess you could say, like a coward, I turned it down. I said, nah, man, I see how you be embarrassing guys, man. You ain't about to do that to me, man. He said, no, man, come on, let's spar. And I'm like, nah, I ain't sparring you, right? So then he looked at me and he had a heart to heart with me. And he said, look, man, let me tell you something about boxing. When you box, you got to treat it like you're playing basketball. You got to treat it like you're playing your favorite video game. You got to treat it like you're playing football. You got to have fun. If you ain't having fun, then what you doing this for? And at that day, I still didn't spar him, which I wish I did now. Looking back on it now, I know he wasn't even trying to hurt me. He was just trying to help me because he took a liking to me. But for whatever reason, I didn't see it at that time. And I just turned it down, but it stuck with me. So that little nugget he gave me, that's the nugget that I give to people when they ask me when they're having a hard time. I'm like, dude, you gotta have fun with this shit, man. If boxing ain't fun, then what you doing this for? You have to enjoy it. It can't be a chore for me to tell you to go up and do your run. It can't be a chore for me to tell you to hit the heavy bag. It can't be a chore when I tell you, listen, you know what I'm saying, I want let's do some mitt work or whatever. You have to get one. It can't be a chore when I ask you to spar. You have to look forward to all of these things. And once I started to improve in boxing, I actually used to look forward to things like that. I used to look forward to sparring. I used to look forward to hitting the bag. I used to look forward to things because you're starting to enjoy it because you're starting to get the benefits from it. But once it starts to go back in this direction, which happens, guys start to love it and then they start to hate it. And when they start to hate it, it's time to have the heart to heart. And if you can't get them to go back to it, then they got to let it go. Because what ends up happening is they end up getting really hurt. And then whose fault is it? You know what I'm saying? You got to live with that as the coach. Because if you knew it in your stomach, but you still let it ride, and something happens to him, that's on you. And that can happen on any age. That can happen to a fighter at any age. That's the other thing. People think, oh, he's a kid, it won't happen to him. It can happen to a kid. It can happen to a grown ass man. It can happen to a seasoned professional. If you got a seasoned professional and he's starting to show you that he's not interested no more, you might want to sit down and have that talk with him. So that's when you have to make that decision. You know what I'm saying? Trying to read some of these questions, guys. Hello, coach. I'm only practicing boxing for self defense and street fights. Should I be practicing something else besides boxing? Um, well, this is kind of a funny thing. I wouldn't, I don't really like to encourage guys to practice boxing for street fights or anything for street fights, right? I mean, we should try to avoid street fights at all costs. I think you should practice whatever you decide that you're actually going to want to apply. Like, for instance, me, I have enough boxing experience to handle myself on the streets, but I'm not going and picking up kickboxing classes and jujitsu classes and any of that stuff because that stuff doesn't interest me. And I'm definitely not going to do any of that stuff. I'm not going to throw a kick in a fight. You know what I'm saying? Chances of me taking you to the ground and putting you in the arm bar isn't going to happen. So for me, I'm probably just going to leave it to my hands and maybe a little grabbing and slamming or whatever tussles happen in the street fight. But you need to do whatever you need to practice whatever it is you really like to do, because if you just think, "Oh, I'm just gonna learn this for the street, blah blah," and then when the street fight happens, thing happen like this, dude. Street fights happen too fast for you to think, oh yeah, all them skills I'm gonna learn are gonna be applicable. The good thing about boxing in the street fight is you can get your shots off real quick. Pop, pop, pop. The fight could be over. You know what I'm saying? Or if somebody comes at you, you catch them coming in, or somebody comes at you, the footwork that you need to retreat, to slide back, slide left, right, whatever. What I mean? Not that boxing is a guarantee in a street fight, but it gives you some really practical options, especially when you know how to box. But once you start getting into the whole art of fighting on the street, I mean, you may have to find some kind of a school that's what they do. MMA. I mean, I would probably suggest MMA, but again, I'm not encouraging this. You know what I'm saying? You should probably avoid street fights. You feel me? So on Twitter, Tevin is calling to replace Rolly Romero. Damn, really? Tevin is calling to replace Rolly Romero. I'm gonna have to get Tevin on the phone, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't hear about this yet. What happened to you fighting A5? Honestly, dude, like, look, this, look, a lot of people love to ask me that. So obviously, people do want to see me fucking box. You feel me? But honestly, man, I did everything I could possibly do at this point. You know what I mean? I spoke to Leonard Ellaby. Told Ocho himself I'm with whatever. Um, he called me out. I didn't call him out. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I just believe that he thought I was a reporter. And I really believe he was just trying to be funny. Like looking at the video now, I don't think he really wanted to fight me. I thought that he was trying to check me because he thought I was a reporter and he thought I was going to cower down because he figured, oh, this reporter never boxed, never played a sport in his life. And maybe he just realized, oh shit, this guy is involved with the sport for real. And okay, well, I'm gonna leave that alone. I got my rocks off. He got his rocks off. Leave it alone. Whatever it is, dude. I'm not, like I said, I'm not chasing nobody. You know what I mean? But I'm with whatever, man. You know what I mean? But big shout out to Ocho Cinco, man. I hope, I wish him a lot of success. I never had a personal issue with Ocho Cinco, to be honest with you. Everything just played out that way, and I'm glad it did. It brought some traction. But I'm a man just like him. So whatever he wants to do, I'm here. The Dawn, have you ever gained a fighter's focus back? Yeah, I have. But it definitely it takes some work. Everything takes work, dude. Everything takes work. Nothing is overnight. Boxing relates to everything in life, dog. Nothing is overnight. You know what I mean? When you, for instance, perfect example. Me, right now, I'm probably 225 pounds. The heaviest I've been in about 4 years. I remember back in 2018, I was about this weight. Right now, no, 2017, I was about 220, 225. And then I refocused and I got down to 185 in 2019. If you go back and see some of my pictures, I was real lean. It took me about 5, 6 months to get that focus to get back down. Now I'm back up in 2021, right? I'm back up to this. Probably took a couple of years for me to get back to this. And if I want to get back to that 190 mark, despite all the knowledge I have about losing weight and getting in shape, I have to refocus. And even if I refocus for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, it's not enough, right? I'm gonna have to refocus for quite a bit of time. And it might be even harder for me now than it was 2, 3 years ago. So what does that mean? I have to work at it. And it's a day in and a day out process. So I say that to say getting a fighter's focus back isn't going to be a one conversation thing. It's going to be a process of consistently working with that fighter, um, giving him positive reinforcement, showing him that he is capable, putting him through some hurdles that he can handle, and then him learning to trust himself. Because a lot of the times, as a fighter, has to learn to trust himself, not just the coach. He might trust the coach, he might not trust himself. So we have to work this together. It's like going to counseling for a messed up relationship with your dad. You know what I'm saying? Or some crap. I ain't never been through that, but you dig what I'm saying? People who got relationship issues, people who are alcoholics who have to go to AA meetings. Like, you don't just change these negative mindsets and things overnight. It is a process. It takes time. Sometimes it takes a year, 2 years. But if you really believe in the athlete and you really have a relationship in the bond with the athlete, you'll be able to do it. And it'll just be a working process. And everybody involved has to want to do it. The fighter has to want it just as much as you. I could want to give you all the positive reinforcement and give you the best advice in the world. If you don't want it, you don't want it. So it's 50-50. I can only give you 50%, and then you give me 50. We meet in the middle, we get 100%. You see what I'm saying? So I have done it before. It's not easy though. I'm about to text Tev right now. I don't want that fight for him right now. Ocho Cinco will have his head knocked off his shoulders. Hey man, I appreciate y'all having faith in me, man, for sure. Hey coach, how do y'all fight inside on a pressure fight? I'm actually coming out with a course with Fast Eddie Chambers. I'm spilling the beans. It's going to be how to box from the outside is going to be one course, and the other course is going to be how to box on the inside. Okay, they're going to be two different courses, but I'll probably do some sort of a bundle. So if you wanted to buy both, you know what I'm saying, you'll be able to get both. We just recorded a good portion of it today. Plan on recording some more of it tomorrow and probably throughout the week. And as soon as it's ready, believe me, you guys will be the first to know. Trying to get these questions. I see a lot of y'all talking to each other, which is dope. I like to see y'all talking to each other. Aaron Garcia said, I'm about to get my miles in right now. Listen, man, Floyd Mayweather would. I know it because I seen him do it. I think I posted it on my Instagram after, I think it was a tank fight. Floyd went ahead and just hit the road and started running. Inspired, man. He said, I ain't going to the club. I ain't giving them my money. I'm going to hit this run. Got a millionaire, probably close to 100 millionaire or more saved and invested or whatever. I don't know how much money he got. I don't like counting other man's pockets. But at the end of the day, he running, taking care of himself, staying hungry. That's what it takes. That's how you know Floyd. This is ingrained in Floyd Mayweather since he was a child. This is a way of life, you know. And if you really want this, man, you got to ingrain it in yourself. We all don't have ex-world champion fathers and uncles like Floyd Mayweather had. See, people have to remember Floyd Mayweather. I use this analogy a lot. It's crazy. Like, you know how we see kids who like their parents was real rich. I don't know if anybody in this chat has really well-to-do family members or parents, and you know you're basically a trust fund baby, right? Like you come into this world, your family got a lot of money, so now you got a lot of money. You live, you know what I'm saying? But then they're also very educated, and you get very educated because you go to the best schools. You know what I mean? The money can pay for, and make a long story short, you're fortunate. Well, Floyd Mayweather was basically that for boxing. You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to boxing, his father and his uncles and everybody involved and all the connections he had was no different than being born a millionaire, you know, being born, you know, the son of a freaking super bright person who was super rich. Floyd's the same thing, just on the financial side, it was different, you know what I mean? But in the boxing world, he was getting rich information. Like he had the right people to groom him. You know what I mean? And he came up in a time where boxing was so serious. Boxing was so serious, man. You gotta think, man, like boxing used to be like the number one sport in the United States at one point. You know what I mean? And he was there when all the greats, man, when guys were fighting 6 times a year. You know what I'm saying? He was being groomed in that era where boxing was you know what I mean? And you know, a lot of people talk about how we're losing the good teachers, and it's true because boxing is not a demand like it once was. So not that many people are invested into fighters. At one time, it was. So all the good teachers and all the fighters were becoming teachers afterwards, and it was just a more serious thing. Now it's kind of like not as much. So you're only going to get but so much talent, so many teachers willing to invest. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you gotta want it. That's the whole point of me saying that. You gotta want it, man. So go get your miles in. The Dawn, man, you seem to have a lot of wisdom. I think whoever you're trading is in good hands. At least it seems like that from the starts. At least it seems like that. Seems like it starts from the ring, but extends beyond that. You have wisdom to share from boxing and life. No, yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate you for the kind words, and I had opportunities in my life to learn a lot. You know what I mean? I'm always educating myself. I'm self-educated. I've had good teachers. I got good friends that I have good conversations with that I learn a lot from to this day. You know what I mean? I had one on here the other day, Billy Briscoe. Big shout out to Billy. Um, I have freaking 6 hour conversations with this guy about life and boxing, and He's a man with a lot of wisdom who I literally could talk to on the phone. I got CEOs of big businesses that I can call and ask them business advice. I've been in boxing for 21 years myself, whether I was competing, coaching, or just in the gym sparring. I grew up in the city, New York City. I lived in South Florida, before South Florida became freaking one of the hottest real estate markets you can get into right now. So I got a chance to see Florida back when Florida had guys like Trick Daddy and them type of dudes. And I watched Florida pop off with Miami started to get hot and all everything down there. So, traveling is good because in travel, you get to see different things, right? I'm a New York kid, New York City, inner city kid. Then I go down to South. Then I got to relearn everything because everybody in the South, they listen to different music. They're into different things and stuff like that. The whole time I'm boxing, you see what I'm saying? So I'm getting that boxing experience. And then I come up here for the last decade and I come to one of the hottest places in boxing, South Jersey, Philadelphia. Basically, you can call this the greater Philadelphia area. And I get a chance to be in basically boxing Harvard for the last decade. And I came here with a certain amount of experience and I just gained even more. You know what I'm saying? So I got a little bit of New York in me, Florida in me, Philly, um, life experience. You know what I mean? So you just take all those experiences and you try to share them with people. And I was fortunate to be around a lot of real people and I just share everything, man. I like to share what I learned, man. I was a natural teacher my whole life. I remember I used to hit the bags, and then I see a new kid in the gym hitting the bag, and I was always that fighter who stopped hitting the bag to be like, yo, 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 throw the punch like this. And my trainer used to come to me and say, yo, 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 that's my job. Focus on yourself. My bad. You feel me? Like, I just couldn't stop. I remember the first day I learned how to do something, I take the mitts and I start hitting the homies up in the neighborhood like, yo, let me show you what I learned today. So coaching was just natural for me. I just learned how to teach. I learned how to communicate. And that's why I do what I do. It's just a natural thing. This is effortless for me. It's effortless for Floyd Mayweather to make a guy miss. It's effortless for Pernell Whitaker to make a guy miss. It's effortless for me to sit here and educate somebody on things that I know about. And I try to stay away from things I don't know about. That's why you don't hear me saying things that I don't know about. If I don't know about it, I leave it alone. But if I know about it, if I put in my 10,000 hours, I share that information. You feel me? Coach Ant, when you throw a right cross to the heavy bag followed by a left hook, my right cross feels short. When you throw a right cross to the heavy bag follow. So you're going boom, boom, boom. Well, you know what? That can happen. You're not always going to be at a complete distance when you're going cross, hook, and then cross, right? So you just learn to throw those shorter right hands. You know what I mean? Your right hands can actually get thrown a little bit shorter. Now, if you're smothering the right hand, that's the problem. But if you're going ahead and you're just like bop, 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 that's okay. You know what I mean? Because you're just trying to get that torque, that twist on the heavy bag, you know what I mean? But if you want to extend your right hand a little bit more, then you stay a little bit more at a distance. You know what I mean? Just work your jab, jab, your cross, and then your cross, and then maybe widen up your hook as well. Sometimes you have to throw a wider hook. You got to make sure you're turning your hook. People always what's that? What do people always say? Throw your hook short. Shorten up your hook. And that's true if I'm throwing a hook from close range. But if I'm throwing a little bit of a wider hook, I'm either throwing it mid range. You feel what I'm saying? And then I'm gonna have enough torque if I turn my body, because when I throw the hook and I go cross hook, now look what my right hand is. Now I can shoot a good right hand from a distance if I'm throwing mid range, right? You got close range, mid range, long range. When I'm going cross hook cross, I'm mid range. You see what I'm saying? I'm not throwing cross hook cross from long range. I'm throwing it from mid range, or I'm throwing it a little bit closer. So you got to know where you are when you're in front of the bag. Maybe you're too close. Back up a little bit. Make sure you're turning properly when you throw your hook. So now your right hand is back in position, locked and loaded, so you can extend it again. And if you do throw shorter punches, that's okay. That's not the end of the world. The key is that you don't smother yourself. Yo, Kenyon, you're a videographer, champ. If you're when you say shoot a tutorial for what, are you a videographer? Bruce, great coach and a wealth of wisdom. Not only do you have the knowledge to share, but you have the gift of being able to teach in a way that makes it easy to absorb. Thank you so much, man. I've had a lot of practice, and I'm trying to get better. You know what I mean? And when I do decide to work with fighters again, I really believe I'm gonna have even more to offer than I ever did in the past. I got more life experience, had more time to think, more time to evaluate the mistakes I made as a coach. And I think if you stop learning and if you're not honest with yourself, that's the problem. Like even coaches can get better, right? Like the problem with a lot of coaches is they think they know everything and they're not willing to admit that maybe there's a better way, or maybe they're not willing to learn because they're already set in their ways and they're so traditionally based. Like a lot of coaches are tradition. You know, this is how my trainer taught me. This is how I'm teaching you. And that's fine and all because you probably learned a lot of good stuff from your coach if you had a good one, but you still have to question things for yourself. You still have to make sure that that's the best way. Maybe your coach had a good way. Maybe you can make it better. See what I'm saying? Maybe there's a better way. Maybe your coach had a good way, but maybe there's a better way. There's always an opportunity for it to be a better way. So you have to be open minded as a coach. You have to be willing to learn. Tradition is good, but at the same time, there's more than one way to do this. You know what I'm saying? And you have to make sure that you're constantly upgrading. No different than a phone. All right, iPhones every year they come out as a new phone. You know what I'm saying? Samsung new phone. I mean, they're not giving you the same phone from last year. The phone they give you the year after got a better camera, got a faster freaking, a faster system. So you can. It's the same thing with boxing training, right? We want to get better. We want to be more efficient. We want to get rid of what we don't need. You know what I mean? Eliminate the stuff that doesn't need to be done. Uh, Educate ourselves as much as we can, and that's it. Can we speak on the false truth that just because a fighter was a decent pro, it don't make him a good coach? Seems like the best coaches never fought pro or were average at best. I mean, look, I think it all depends on where you put your energy. I think it has a lot to do with where you put your energy. I think that if you put your energy into coaching, then you'll become a good coach. If you really want to be a good coach, if you're a good fighter, you become a good fighter, Um, I believe that if I would have put more energy into boxing as a competitor, I could have done a lot better than I did, but I didn't. And I think that some of that reserved energy that I had, I decided to put it into coaching. And I think that's why a lot of average fighters or not so good fighters, like you just said, turn out to be good coaches because they still have a lot more to offer the sport. And maybe they didn't try their hardest in boxing. Maybe they didn't fully commit themselves. So they let it out as a coach. You know what I'm saying? They have the energy still. Sometimes these fighters, man, they've been through so much in their career as a fighter, whether that's through the business beating them up or them getting beat up physically, that they don't have the energy to even continue to talk about boxing. I know guys who used to fight that they don't even bring up boxing. They don't even want to talk about it. To them, it's like, yo, man, don't talk to me about this shit, man. I'm good. Like, you feel me? Because it's like boxing has a funny way of beating it out of you. You know what I'm saying? So I think that you have a point, but I also believe that if you are a coach and you've never fought before, you got a lot of work to do, brother. Because if you've never fought before, if you didn't have a fantastic teacher teaching you the game, and if you didn't personally go through the coaching that a coach has to coach with the coach that was already experienced, you got a hell of a hard job because you're not just gonna want to guess and make stuff up on the job. So you need to get educated one way or the other. To me, the easiest way to get educated in boxing as a coach is to actually box. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be a world champion, but you do have to know how to throw the punches, because when you have to teach a guy to throw a left hook to the body, if you don't know how to throw a left hook to the body with good form and technique, how's a fighter? You're always gonna have to pull out your phone and be like, "Hey, man, you see that's how you throw the left hook to the body. You see how he's doing it? You see what I'm saying? You want to be able to demonstrate it. Bang, the guy sees it. Oh, okay, I see what it looks like. I get it. He knows how to do it too. Then it builds trust. You know what I'm saying? If I'm like throw left hook to the body, and I'm like this, I mean, are you really gonna trust me as a coach? So you have to at least know how to box and at least know how to handle yourself in the ring. So I do think that there's some real benefit in knowing how to box. And if you don't know how to box, then like I said, it can still be done, but you got a lot of work to do. It's going to be a very uphill battle because you still got to learn the game. And it's one thing to know the sport, another thing to know the game. You know what I mean? Yes, I am. I shot most of Raymond Ford's videos. I bet, brother. Shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'll call you and we could figure something out for sure. I like to see some of your work too. The problem is you ducking Ocho Cinco. Ah, why you ducking Ocho Cinco? Answer the question. Why you ducking Ocho Cinco? Ladies and gentlemen, do y'all believe that I'm ducking Ocho Cinco? Yeah, oh, you know what? Watch this. Put this kid on timeout, coach. All right, bet. I got you. Bang. So there you go, champ. You're officially on timeout. Now, so this is what we do here at Coach Anthony Boxing. See, since I can't physically harm you when you disrespect me or try to play me, what I do is I treat you like a kid, right? So when you come in here and you get disrespectful and you start talking crazy or you try to troll whatever you think you're funny, but nobody's getting the joke, I put you on timeout. So what I do is I basically put you to the wall. You know, when your mother used to be like, yo, you're on timeout, go look at the wall, and then you got to put your nose to the wall. That's what I do to guys like you. You see what I'm saying? So, and it's real simple. All I got to do is press a button to do it. So that's what we're doing right now. So he's officially on timeout. You feel me? Nick know the vibes. Put him on timeout. You can say whatever you want, but once I peep it, you on timeout. Real talk, right? Man, you know how it is, man. People be bored, man. People ain't got nothing else to do, man. It's COVID. You know what I'm saying? A lot of places on lockdown. A lot of us ain't got the vaccine. You can't go out. You know what I mean? You can't go to the club in New York. You bored, man. So what do? You come on the internet, you troll a few people, you make yourself laugh, you feel better about yourself, you go to sleep. But when you come here, you get put on timeout. Canelo about to do the same thing to Plant next week, like Cepeda versus Vargas. Viva Mexico, cabrón. Yeah, I gotta be cool to uh, my man, Vargas, man. Big shout out to Josue Vargas, man. Got a lot of love for that kid, man. I got a chance to hold mitts for him and work with him in Orlando earlier this year. He's a hard worker. Got clipped with a good shot. Um, so shit happens, man. I mean, I do agree. Josue was being a little bit too much with the antics, and unfortunately, that's how the cookie crumbles. Is boxing. You feel me? It's boxing, man. It could happen to any of us, man. It could even happen to you, Orlando. You get out of line with the wrong guy, he could hit you on one of them tate quietos real quick. Next thing you know, you like, whoa, what the hell was that? Could happen to anybody, papito. You gotta be humble. Coach Anthony being humble. Come on, laugh out loud. You knock Ocho into a coma, man. Yo, man, y'all leave Ocho Cinco alone, man. Y'all leave Ocho Cinco alone, man. Ocho Cinco, man. He just, he's living life, man. I don't got no issues with Ocho Cinco. I'm a phone call away. Argentina, coach. It's coach, man. It's Coach. You just wrote couch. Just trying to help you out with your spelling, man. I know a lot of people aren't from the United States in here, but it's coach, Coach. But yeah, big shout out to Argentina. I like your maturity. I appreciate you, Chris. Who you got? Canelo versus Plant. Um, I mean, look, we know that Canelo got all the experience in the world. I'm gonna cover this fight week this week too, guys. So for the record, I want everybody to pull up to my channel. I already said I want to try to go live every day for the month of November, and week 1 is gonna be fight week for Canelo Alvarez, Caleb Plant. That's a good way to start the fight week. So, um, my goal is to definitely talk about my thoughts on the fight this particular week. But it's a good fight. Um, Canelo got the experience. Caleb Plant is looking to shock the world. They're both good fighters. I mean, if I had to bet the house on it, it's going to be hard to bet against Canelo. I mean, come on, the man's fought Triple G 2 times. He fought what's his name? Lara. He's fought Danny Jacobs. He's fought Kovalev. Just a ton of experience. When you have that much experience, that helps. You know what I mean? And then when you're good, it helps. So Caleb got a hell of a fight ahead of him. I just hope that Caleb is prepared. But Caleb has some good tools. He has a really good jab, good movement. He's slippery. He's a natural 168 pounder. He brings some good things to the table. So let's not count out Caleb Plant completely. Let's not dismiss him completely. Should be interesting. Oh, and real quick plug. I should have said this probably an hour and 38 minutes ago, but if you use discount code GROUNDUP50, 50% off my latest course, Build You from the Ground Up. So if I got any beginners in here, guys with little to none experience, and you want to learn how to box like it's your first day in the gym, just drop the course called Build You from the Ground Up 1.0. Strictly for my beginners, man. If you are a beginner, this is the course for you. I got other courses on my site right now that are geared toward more advanced people, but this is for the beginners. I teach you everything from the stance all the way to how to work the heavy bag. You know what I mean? And this is the first of a series that I'm doing. So this is 1.0. I'm gonna come out with the 2.0, 3.0. I don't know how many point O's I'm gonna go. Haven't made that final decision yet, but I definitely got the 1.0 right now available. You can make the purchase right now, get it 50% off if you use Ground Up 50. Quick little plug for the site. So I hope you guys take advantage of that. And also, if you want to purchase any of my other courses, like the Philly shell system, how to set traps, counterpunch angles, and how to create them, 150 combinations. I got the CA Power Hour 60% off. So if you use the CA Power Hour code at the checkout, you'll get any other course for 60% off. So do the math, guys. 60% off. This is basically Black Friday deals right now. I'm starting early. So this is simply for the lives, right? So if you're not watching this, you're not gonna know about this sale. You know what I mean? The CA Power Hour. You'll know about the ground up that I'm about to cut off. The sale's over for the ground up. But this one is whenever I decide to do it on the live. So if you're watching the live, you got access to it. All right, let's get back to the Q&As and the talking or whatever. Tevin Farmer said he would replace Rolly versus Tank. Very brave of Tevin Farmer. I didn't know anything about it. Tevin's my guy. Obviously, I've worked with Tevin for many camps. Was with him for his most recent victories and most recent loss. And Tevin's a fantastic fighter. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't see the tweet. I'll probably find out about it tomorrow. I really wonder if they would take him up on that, if he's willing to take that replacement. I'm I'm curious to see what they say to him. I'm gonna buy your ish for my nephew. Can we download it? How would I gift it to him for Christmas? Well, what you could do is you could purchase it now, right? Since I got a sale running, you make the password or whatever, because when you purchase a course for me, this is how it works. You go to the site, you purchase the course. They're going to ask you to put in a password or create a password. Now you have access to a portal. In the portal, you can purchase any other course. So let's just say you Build You from the Ground on 1.0, and then you say to yourself, you know what, I want to get footwork drills for beginners. And then you say, I want to get defensive principles 101. I recommend those three as a bundle if you wanted to. But let's just say you decide to get those, they all go to the same location. So let's just say you purchase it, you make the code. Then what you could do is basically just give him that passcode to the site, because you can actually go to my website, log in. So what you do is you make the purchase, you keep the code private to yourself or whatever, hold on to it. Maybe you want to watch it for a while. He's not going to know anything about it. And then when you decide that he can go ahead and, you want to give it to him, you say, hey, man, I got you the courses. And all you do is simply give him the password. And then with the password, now he can go ahead and watch it. You feel me? So there you go. That's how I would do that. You know what I mean? What's up, Ant? Hype to see Tevin's making that comeback at 35. Um, we'll see what happens. I ain't heard nothing about it. I don't know nothing about it. So I'm not a source right now. You know what I mean? I don't know anything about what Tevin got going on as far as the fight. So if Tevin lets me know, then I'll keep you guys posted. Maybe I could try to get Tevin on this week, because this is going to be an exciting week. I think there's a good opportunity that I might be able to get Tevin on the live. I'll give him a talk, see what happens. So I'm gonna buy it now. Is PayPal cool? Yup, absolutely. Just go to the site, put discount code in, and pay PayPal or your credit card or whatever. All the options are there for you. Yep. Thank you so much, man. Make sure you don't forget the code. We got CA Power Hour, 60% off everything. That's an extremely big sale that I'm doing. You won't see that unless it's Black Friday or if you catch me on a live. And no, that's CA Summer. That was my summer sale that I had going on. But obviously we got the most recent one, which is Ground Up 50. So you see, the summer I was giving out 50%, but now I'm giving out 60% for all my courses. And of course, Ground Up 50, I'm only doing 50% because it's a brand new course. I typically don't put a brand new course on sale. I typically keep the price high in the beginning because you're getting it right off the rip. And then later on, I'll start dropping the sales after the course has been out for some time. You know what I'm saying? But in the beginning, it's like first come, first serve. You're getting the premium is like the iPhone right now. You feel me? It's like the same mentality, at least. So Anyway, 50% off. Go ahead and snatch that up, brother, for sure. Because Monday is gone. You feel me? I'm dubbing it on the first. Yeah, for sure. But like I'm saying, like if you decide you want to get the other courses, you know what I'm saying, you can, and they'll all go to the same portal. You might want to set them up with a few. But get the ground on 50 to start. Like I said, I suggest the footwork and defensive principles 101 also. But I am going to come out with a point 2.0 and a 3.0. And see, the way I did the courses is where they're literally 1.0 is going to set you up for 2.0, and then 2.0 is going to set you up for 3.0, and so on and so forth. But if you get 1.0 now, since I don't have 2.0 out yet on my site, you can get footwork drills and defensive principles 101 because those will move you along a little bit faster if you wanted to move at a faster pace. You see what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you still got to work it. You still got to drill it. You know what I mean? Nothing's overnight. We talked about this already. My man King Jake just got put on timeout permanently. Damn, Jake. Permanent timeout. That's a shame. Let you back in here. I try to be nice to you. Now you're on permanent timeout. It's unfortunate. Coach, what's your thoughts on the upcoming unification between Cool Boy Steph and Figueroa? I got Fulton. You know, I've had a chance to work with Steph and Fulton in the past, uh, before he was a world champion, back when he was like 6-0, 5-0, something like that. And he was always hungry. Um, I got mid-work videos with him actually on my Instagram. Um, he threw like, I don't even know how many punches. Uh, like 11, 12, 1,300 punches or something, like something crazy. So, I mean, Fulton's punch output is unbelievable. Um, and he could fight. So it's not a bad choice. Wilder needs to buy your footwork course in the basic. Any advice on finding a good gym? Just move to a new area, no experience. Oh man, I mean, that's gonna be hard, man. I mean, I don't know what area you're in, but you're gonna have to do your research, man. I mean, and you're gonna have to try to find a gym that teaches boxing more so than does, like the fitness boxing stuff. So, you're gonna have to ask certain questions like, hey guys, what kind of boxing training do you guys do here? Do you guys do competitive boxing training? Do you guys just focus on the fitness aspect of it? And I just think that now we're in a time where people have to understand that everybody has to get paid, right? So the sooner we understand that, the better. Okay. So if you go to a new gym and let's just say they do a little bit of both fitness boxing slash competitive boxing slash personal one-on-one coaching, you may want to purchase some personal one-on-one coaching. A lot of guys don't want to spend the money on that. That's too expensive, this, that, and the other. But it's like you want one-on-one attention, right? You want somebody to teach you the craft. You want somebody to focus on you. They want to get paid for that. So, find a gym that has a good fighter or find a good boxing coach and be willing to spend the money that he charges, what I'm saying, for personal training. If you really want this, you'll do it. It's not the good old days, man, where like you walk into a boxing gym and the coach be like, yeah, I'm going to take you under my wing and I'm just going to coach you for free for 10 years and we're going to win a world title together. It's not how it works no more. So you have to motivate the trainer by spending what he charges. So that's my advice to you, man. You know what I'm saying? That's as real as I can get with it. You got to spend the money, but you got to make sure you're spending the money with the right guy. It's not wrong with spending the money, but you got to make sure you're getting the right service. You know what I mean? So you got to find that right trainer. There's only one way to do it. That's research. Maybe you can go on Instagram and pull up boxing trainers in your area on the hashtag, or Google it, or whatever. Tank versus Core or Devin, the best boxer you've seen, amateur or pro, and the best boxer you've seen, amateur or pro. Um, that's a tough one, man. Tank versus Shakur is a tough one. Tank versus Devin's a tough one. Shakur versus Tank, and man, that's a nice little lineup right there. Them three guys are all good fighters. I think Shakur Stevenson has shown that he might be the most focused fighter out the three. Shakur has a laser beam focus when he fights, something that I don't think I see in Gervonta Davis and Devin Haney. But Tank has power that I don't see in Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney. And Devin Haney has footwork, jab, lateral movement, and reach. I believe I would say reach that I don't see in those others. Like they all have things that can beat each other. They all have things that can beat each other. So I just think they're really good for the division. All three of them, they're fantastic. They're young. They're on the top of their game. Let the best man win. As far as the best boxer I ever seen, amateur or pro, it's very difficult, man. I mean, Floyd Mayweather. I'll go with Floyd Mayweather, best boxer I've seen all around. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody better than Floyd Mayweather. I mean, at least from my personal opinion, I think that he does everything uh like above average, everything. The perfect balance of defense, offense, counter punching, slickness, speed, solid enough power that way you could respect his power. He's like the most well balanced top level fighter I've seen. A lot of those other guys were really exceptional at one area, but not all areas, right? Like let's take somebody like um James Toney. James Toney, fantastic upper body movement, fantastic running numbers when he was skinnier and he counter you, and but he would get hit a lot and he didn't really use that much footwork and he lacked discipline. So he would, gain weight later on and all that type of stuff where it got harder for him. Pernell Whitaker, fantastic fighter. Dog. Another guy who had more holes in his game than a Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather is just like a guy who, man, he was a total package, man. And I don't think it's gonna be until Floyd's completely deceased that he's gonna get his flowers, And but I'm gonna give him to him now. I'm gonna give him to Floyd Mayweather now. He deserves his flowers now. He had a great jab at 130. He had great pot shots, and he could freaking make anybody miss. And he beat so many world champions, if I'm not mistaken, the most world champions. And he's fought great fighters. Was a great amateur. He was beating up guys like Frankie Randall in the gym when he was 16 years old. I mean, come on, man. Give him his flowers. Tampa. I think Tarver's in Tampa. Antonio Tarver's in Tampa. Look for Antonio Tarver's gym. Tell him Coach Anthony sent you. I'm not sure what gym Antonio Tarver trains from, but when you find Antonio Tarver, say Coach Anthony recommended me to come to your gym. All right, Toby, no problem, champ. Just let me know when you're ready, man. You can actually message me even on the on the site. So it's all good, man. No worries. Whenever you're ready. How do you think Floyd would have done in the Leonard Duran Hearns Hagler era? I think he does fantastic. I think that Floyd's as good as anybody. I think there's certain fighters who could fight in any era. And I said this before. I think Floyd Mayweather is one of those guys. I think Shakur Stevenson is going to be one of those guys. I think that Tyson Fury is one of those guys. I think Usyk is one of those guys. I think that Sugar Ray Leonard is one of those guys. I think Tommy Hearns is one of those guys. I think that there's fighters that come around that can compete in any era. You know what I'm saying? You have fighters who are good for their era, but then you got guys who can fight in any era. Floyd Mayweather could fight in any era. You see what I'm saying? There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it, man. Like, put it this way. You got Jaron Boots Ennis. His brothers, I heard them say, he does everything that we did, but better. Farron Ennis, Derek Ennis were good fighters from the Philadelphia area. Solid, good fighters. Like, not average fighters, above average. Solid, good fighters. They said the Boots does everything that they did, but better. I think Floyd Mayweather did everything there, could do anything that Roger and Floyd Sr. did, but better. And I just think that Floyd Mayweather is just that good. He could fight in any era. I'm not saying that he goes undefeated like he did in the era that he fought in, but what I am saying is he can fight in any era. Coach, I'm from Philly, but I'm in Tampa now. Okay. That's what's up, man. Blessings. Thank you. Nah, thank you, champ. I appreciate you. Checking out, coach. Till next time, salute. Digital, man. Thank you so much. And be on the lookout this week. Anywhere from the 6 p.m. to the 10 p.m. I'm going to probably go live at least 1 hour every single day, starting November 1st for Monday through Friday, some Saturdays, depending on fights. I'm probably going to take Sundays off. I don't know yet. I might go ahead and rock through Sundays as well. So I want everybody to be on the lookout. I plan on going live. Have your questions ready. Be ready to hear some good stuff. I'm gonna bring some real talented, educated people on here who's gonna help you guys with a lot of different things. We're gonna talk about a lot of different things. And just be on the lookout, man. Just all I ask is that you like, comment, share, subscribe, show love, spread the word, and that's it. You know what I mean? And let's have some fun for the month of November. You know what I mean? Let's have some fun with this whole YouTube live thing. I've done so many tutorials over the years teaching boxing. I got courses. You guys can always go back to my tutorials. You can always purchase a course. But now we get this live interaction, and something about this live interaction I'm really taking a liking to. So I would like to really grow it. Because if you guys want to see me teach, you can easily just go to my channel and just pull up something. Probably anything that you think of, I've already done a video on it. You know what I'm saying? Or I got a course on it. So if I don't got a video on it, I got a freaking course on it. And if I don't got a course on a video on it, it's coming. I'm gonna eventually make it. So it gives you a chance to ask me questions, come directly on the platform, talk to me directly. And some of the questions that I can't get to, I'll probably write little notes down and create YouTube videos and videos like that for you guys as well. So it's going to be a really dope time. November is going to be a lot of fun. I want everybody to be part of that. And let me not get too crazy, man. It's 1:43 right now. I already got to go to the gym early tomorrow to record with Eddie. We're going to finish up on the courses that we're working on, which is how to box from the outside and how to box from the inside. So that's gonna be a hell of a course, guys. Be on the lookout for that. Yeah, definitely, champ. We'll definitely bring you on, man. You could definitely come chop it up with me and whoever I got on here, or maybe just you and I, man. We'll see how it goes. So just keep them bell notifications on, everybody. If you're an amateur fighter, if you competed before, if you got some of your own personal experiences you want to talk about, this is the platform for you, man. You can come ahead, and chop it up with me, share some of your stories, share some of your insight. That's what I'm trying to create here. I'm trying to create a real community for everybody. So, pull up. November is going to be the month for everybody. This might be something that I do one month out the year, every year. You feel what I'm saying? Good night. Be blessed, everyone. All right. It looks like everybody's getting tired. Everybody's starting to check out slowly. So let's leave it on a good note. 2 hours we've been on here. We talked about most of the fights tonight, not all of them. But we got more to talk about, man. There's a lot to talk about. We got fight week coming up, Canelo fight week, man. It's gonna be fire. This week's gonna be fire. I hope there's a lot of energy and stuff going on, and I hope there's a lot of stuff that I can share. So I was going to go to the fight, and man, part of me still wants to go. Part of me might still go. I might just pull up and have to bring my laptop with me, and I might be doing these lives from freaking Vegas. I don't know yet. I haven't made a final decision if I'm going to go ahead and leave. If I do decide to leave, it'll probably be like Wednesday. I do have people out there already hitting me up saying I need to come. So we'll see if I make that decision. But if not, I'll be right here, you know what I'm saying? And doing it right out my office. I don't mind either way, to be honest. Yeah, man. All right, guys. Let me pull out of here, man. Let me leave y'all with the "Build You from the Ground Up" commercial. Y'all know what it is. This is "Build You from the Ground Up," probably one of the most important courses on my website at the moment. And it's because I'm going to teach you step by step the fundamentals of boxing. See, you want to make sure you have a good foundation. You have good fundamentals. It's no different than building a house, right? You want to have a solid foundation so you can build on top of it. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to teach you the same way that I've taught hundreds of people throughout the years from owning a gym. I've also had the opportunity to work with numerous world-level professional fighters, amateur fighters at the Olympic level, and they all have one thing in common, and that's good fundamentals. Okay, you have to have a solid foundation if you want to go ahead and building on top of this, all right? But this is just a really good starting point. So for all my beginners out there, intermediate and advanced boxers, let's go ahead and let's get started. You already know. All right, y'all. Have a good night, man. Thank y'all for tuning in.